Okay, so if you want to get your agency past 50K a month, I'm going to help you on how you can hit 100K a month. This is the kind of advice that I've learned from helping other coaches and agencies. My name's Adam, I own apexing.com, and I'm going to help tell you what's helped us the most. So number one is making sure you have a built-out operating, build and operate an appointment setting department. I'm talking very fast, I need to slow down. But first you want to define your ideal client profile. Then you want to refine your offer and make sure you've developed your messaging. And then you also want to choose your outreach channels, right? You want to build your CRM because most people don't have that even set up. They're just using an Excel sheet or something. But you want to make sure the infrastructure of the appointment setting department is set up. Most people hire a person. We're not hiring a person. We are building a team. And not even a team. We're building the team, yes, but that goes inside of the department. People will have a system for content, a system for sales, a system for lead gen, but they have one dude for appointment setting. That's not what we do. If you want to hit 100K a month, you need an appointment setting system. Otherwise, they're going to keep leaving. You're going to keep hiring, firing appointment setters. So you want to create SOPs and training, hire your first setters. You don't scale by hiring a setter. You scale by building a department. So next thing, solidify a predictable pipeline generation. So set daily outreach targets. You need to make sure you know exactly what your numbers are and what your targets are every single day so that you can hand it down and train your setters based on that. You need to track every KPI. So the system that you have built to track your appointment setting, every KPI needs to be managed. You need to optimize the reply rates. So you need to have a look every single day and every week at the messages that are being sent out to your warm leads to see how they can be optimized and improved. You need to improve qualification rates. So one thing I always say, this is a very important point, and I might even change this, but basically you want to change the idea of your thinking from qualification to disqualification. You want to disqualify people as much as possible so that whoever's left is going to be a very good lead. Next is to increase booking rates. Forecast meetings weekly and to build consistency into the pipeline. So you want to make sure that the daily system of your pipeline is being managed by your appointment setters, by your VAs, by whoever on a consistent basis, and you have all your KPIs basically on a dashboard and everything's being optimized every single week. You don't do that by hiring a person, you need a department. So number three is to build a sales department. Document your sales processes and what works the best. You want to hire dedicated closers. So usually you can scale to 100K a month without a closer, right? You can do this all yourself. But usually if I'm recommending someone on scaling, you want to get out of the business. You don't want to be doing sales calls all day, every day. So I would recommend you hire a closer, right? So standardize your sales calls. So you want them to be consistent in a certain kind of way, done the same time every time and recorded, right? And the reason I say this is because if you want to improve something, you can't improve at random. You have to have a methodology that you follow every day. Then when you make changes to it, you can see if your change has affected it for better or for worse, right? So you want to measure the conversion rates of every single sales call. You want to coach performance weekly. So for your setters, you want to make sure, yes, you have the sales closers. Yes, you have the best sales, but you want to make sure you're coaching your closes on that, and you want to forecast revenue accurately. Okay, so once appointments become predictable, sales becomes the next bottleneck. So we want to make sure the appointment setting system is down to a T and the department is built perfectly. And once you do that, then you can actually start scaling with speed. Okay, so number four is to build a client delivery department. Standardize the onboarding, so every single person is onboarded in the same way, right? So it's not done by you clicking around. It's done in a very almost a funnel you can use, right? So you want to document fulfillment. So exactly the way you fulfill every single client, you want to make sure it's fulfilled, and also fulfillment of the appointment setting of the sales. So also hire delivery specialists. So people who actually know how to carry out your service, whether it means putting people into a group, handling the clients in any way, shape or form. You want to make sure you have people to do that because you can't do everything. If you want to scale to 100K a month, you need to start thinking differently, right? Because the way you've been acting and behaving up to now is not going to get you to 100K a month. So you want to create quality control. You want to make this be a regular part of your business. You want to measure client successes, right? And you want to improve retention. And the way you're going to do this, when I say improve retention, is by making sure, number one, obviously your clients are getting good results. And number two, you actually get better retention when you don't worry about having good retention. And it's kind of it doesn't make sense at first, but what I mean is if you have so many leads and so much inbound demand and your appointment setting system is amazing and your sales is amazing, you're going to be able to sign many more clients, and that's going to give you much more money, much more time, much more capital to invest in improving your retention. So people focus on retention in the beginning. You actually want to focus in the beginning on just signing, right? Making money. So collect proof and case studies. There's no point selling more clients if delivery can't keep up. So you want to make sure you can keep up with delivery. So number 5 is to have someone document all the processes. You can start to do this by yourself, but you want someone to assist you. So you want to document every single process in the business. So from A to Z, from the very beginning of like posting content to the very end of like service delivery. And then you want to build internal dashboards. You usually want to use something like Go High Level or something like that. Next is you want to create reporting systems. So usually Go High Level is good at this, but you want to create a system that you can report, okay? And also, you want to implement financial tracking, very important point, and improve internal communication. So you actually improve internal communication by minimizing it, okay? Because we found with coaches and agencies, when we want to get to 100K a month, there's actually too much communication between people, and we need to isolate people almost. We need to give them freedom to connect, but they need to be isolated and work, right? So they're only focusing on their job, but they have a clear understanding of how their job affects the next job. So the appointment setter, for example, has a clear understanding of when they're elite level of how their job affects the closer. So automate repetitive tasks, hire operational support. Operations is what allows growth without chaos. You need to make sure everything is documented, everything is in a SOP, everything is on a dashboard, everything is squeaky clean, right? And allows you to scale fast. Build a recruitment machine for appointment setters. So write hiring scorecards, source candidates continuously. Appointment setters should always be sourced and interviewed every single week, right? So build a pipeline of talent. Train before they're needed. So you want to make sure people are ready and understand your flow before they ever even need to get into your business, right? Replace underperformance quickly. So as soon as someone doesn't perform, you replace them. Never depend on one person. This is what most people do. They hire one setter, so without the S, and then their whole business depends on that one person. And then they get frustrated because they have to train the person, micromanage the person, they have to hire again, they have to interview again, and because they're rushed, they only interview 5 people and they sign one. At apexsetting.com, we interview 50 people, right? 50 people a week just to make sure we find good setters. The companies that scale fastest are always recruiting, even when they're fully staffed. So number 7 is build a leadership team. Promote department heads. Delegate ownership. Hold weekly leadership meetings to all the people who are head of each department. Review company KPIs. Solve bottlenecks. And you always want to make sure you're solving bottlenecks every single week. You want to look at where drop-off points are and where you're losing people, right? And then find out why you're losing people at that point and then solve that bottleneck. Plan quarterly growth. Focus on strategy, not execution. So you're at the top level focusing on strategy. You don't want to be executing anything. So 100K a month isn't built by doing more work. It's built by building people who build the business. So number 8 is let someone else build it for you. We define ideal client profile and refine your offer. We build your messaging and outreach strategy. We set up your CRM, tracking and appointment setting infrastructure. We recruit, interview, hire world-class appointment setters. We train your team with proven scripts, SOPs and systems. We manage performance, KPIs and ongoing optimization every month. We continuously recruit new setters so your business never depends on one person. At Apex Setting, we don't just give you appointment setters. We build and operate your entire appointment setting department so you can focus on scaling. So if you need help building or operating an appointment setting department, go to my website here, apexsetting.com. You can see some of the clients here, or you can book a call. Talk to you next time.